Hello. If anybody's there, type something into the box. I'm just getting started here. Sounds like it's working. Turn the camera off and open the chat. Chat should be open. Screen share. Entire screen. Let's turn the camera off. Okay. Cameraman, yes, no, yes. Turn camera off. Open chat. It's cameraman. Control room. Cameraman. Okay. I think we are good to go. Okay. I'm going to get started. It's 10:59. I think I should wait another minute to get started. I'll just edit this beginning part out. So if you're there, welcome. Thanks for coming. Put in the chat box if you can hear me okay. Or just to say hi, make sure it's working. Would be wonderful. Thank you. Testing myself. All right. It's 11 a.m. I am here to talk about trust your gut, not your Snapchat feed. I'm Tori Henderson, and this is lifecoachingforparents.com. Just a little bit about me. I work as a life coach for parents, a teacher, a parent educator, and I do a couple of things. I teach a Time for the Talk is my sex education program that I do live near where I live in Walnut Creek, California. And then also, and we have an online class for parents to take a sex education class with their 9 to 12-year-old to open up the lines of communication. I also have a summer camp I do called Launching Girl Leaders that has open enrollment right now. This is for 11 to 17-year-olds divided up into different age groups. And that's coming up this summer, super fun. I also do one-on-one life coaching, and we'll offer group parenting classes, sometimes over the phone. Sometimes it's nice as your kids grow older, we want to protect their privacy and respect their, not talk about it. Like when they're little, we'll get together and we'll talk about our kids and what's bugging us and what's normal. But as they get older, we don't want to do that without making embarrassing and make them feel awkward. And so we have a teleclass over the phone so parents can have some anonymity and still get the parenting support that they want. So we're here today to talk about the internet. So the way I like to think about the internet is as though it is the most amazing summer camp in the world. That your kids, through the internet, have access to just about anything they want to know. If they want to learn how to play a musical instrument, how to do karate, how to perfect their goal kicks in soccer, they can learn it on the internet. They have access to people all over the world. We have my daughter's friend moved to Costa Rica, and they still FaceTime and stay in touch. And it's so nice that we can do that with relatives. I have my family that lives in Australia that we still get to talk to and Skype with. It is such a really cool thing. So we're calling it the most amazing summer camp in the world that your kids just have access to. And there's a lot of great stuff. If you want to know something, what is a baby turkey called? I just found out it's called a poult. Poult. What do you know? You kids ask a question, you don't know the answer, you Google it. But, well, before we get to the but, we're going to talk about just all the really neat things. Like, if you haven't explored YouTube for how-to videos, or Pinterest for cooking recipes, all the like arts and crafts stuff, you can learn how to do just about anything you're interested in. You can explore interests on the internet, find out what you are interested in. So it's as though you're sending your kids to the summer camp where they really can pick from a million different activities what they want to learn and what they want to explore and do. And they can do it safely. They're not going to hurt themselves on the internet, right? They're not going to die. It's not dangerous. We'll talk more about it. I know you guys are questioning that, but if you think about it in terms of they're not going to drown in a pool while searching the internet. So it's this completely safe, completely convenient for us as parents, accessible anywhere, and interesting to them, then they can always find something they're interested in. That is not a problem on the internet. So it is this really killer summer camp. The downside, of course, there is one, is that there's also a lot of stuff that we would not want our kids to be exposed to at a summer camp. If we were to send them off to the summer camp and we found out they could take like these really cool like arts and crafts classes or learn how to do ropes courses or rock climbing or whatever, but they also may choose to take a class in how to build a bomb or how to become a racist or whatever, we would probably be a little bit hesitant around that. We'd be like, really? You're going to teach my daughter how to become anorexic? Like, that's not really what I want I'm doing. But so the summer camp has everything, with good and bad. It's got inappropriate content. It's got a lot of nudity and some really sexually inappropriate things we don't want our kids watching. It also has this ability to make our kids feel isolated and maybe a little bit depressed and separated from other kids their age. There's some concerns for parents out there, and this is all so unprecedented. As parents, we don't really know where to set the boundaries. How much is too much? We didn't grow up with what the access our kids have, and so we can't draw on our personal experience. And so instead, we worry. We worry about online predators. We worry about damaging their brains. We worry about them not interacting with humans in real world relationships. I think of a lot of us when we think back to our middle school years, our teenage years, the friendships that we had and the relationships that we built, whether it was awkward and embarrassing and silly or really meaningful and powerful, it kind of made life worth living. It made school worth going to, right? It was all having your friends there. And so even if it wasn't great relationships, it still was where we were practicing and learning how to have quality relationships with people. And it's so easy now to not interact with people and just have your nose in your phone and your earphones on that our kids might not even know what they're missing out on. So of course we worry about cyberbullying and sexting. We all made mistakes when we were teenagers, but now these mistakes can be spread so quickly. It can just get out like wildfire and hurt our reputations, hurt our feelings, really just make us feel like there's a lot of things we don't have control over. Hit the internet. It's out of our control. So, of course, we worry about the inappropriate content and not spending enough time in the real world. When nobody else is playing outside in the street, it's hard to say, okay, kids, you need to go outside and play in the street because they're all inside playing video games. And so it just becomes this cultural phenomenon that people don't go riding their bikes as much anymore when they can just FaceTime or play video games with their friends. So I was thinking about this is giving kids access to the internet is kind of like giving them a pill to take every day. But we don't know what the side effects may be. There may be no side effects. It may be a great pill for them, or maybe just a benign pill, a sugar pill. But we don't know. It could cause nightmares, depression, insomnia, diarrhea, fatigue, headaches, addiction, anxiety, right? Everything in this picture. And we don't know. And that worries us. So fear for a lot of us comes from the unknown. We don't really know where to draw the line. All we know is what everybody else is doing, and somehow that makes us feel safer. But this could be having some negative side effects. What I don't encourage is more worrying. So if you go to talk about kids in the internet, a lot of them are given by police officers, and they see all the horrible, creepy, dark stuff that can happen on the internet. Totally valid. But from my experience as a life coach, when parents feel scared, nervous, worried, it doesn't move them to take positive action. They might go, oh my God, kids, like, no phones ever again. And like, this is really bad. And kids don't respond well to parental worry. So you really want to be careful about the energy that parents have when talking to their kids about this stuff. Okay. So we're not going to talk about all the horrible things that can happen. Because really, what we really want as parents is for our kids to be happy. We say we want them to clean their rooms and to have good grades, but really what we want is their happiness, and we can't give that to them. And I think that's so frustrating for a lot of us. We try and create it for them, and sometimes by giving them too much and trying to make them happy, we end up not making them happy because we kind of spoiled them or not set clear enough boundaries or not given them enough contrast. If they were to go work on a farm for a summer, just like blood, sweat, and tears, and then came home and got to have this luxurious lifestyle that they lead, well, they'd probably be pretty happy. But we're not really providing that for them. So sometimes our best intentions of trying to make them happy by giving them everything they want can backfire. But I want to talk to parents about, are your instincts trying to get your attention? Because sometimes when something's bothering us and it just doesn't go away, we're like, okay, I'm really worried about my child, playing too many video games online. So I'm going to tell them, okay, no more video games. Like, you need to stop and read a book. You need to go do your homework. You need to go outside and play. Then they do that, but we're still worried. Like, something's going on when that keeps showing up for us like that. So you want to take a look at, are your worries productive? Is there an immediate action you can take to eliminate the worry? Right? So it might be something like you're laying in bed and you're like, oh gosh, I really should be doing this, that, and whatever. Well, can you get up and write yourself a note to remember to, make that doctor's appointment tomorrow? Or, okay, tomorrow I'm going to explore, Net Nanny, or was it 360 Live? 35 Lives 360, one of those apps where I can monitor the technology use. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to take the cell phones away and not let them have it after 9 p.m. Whatever it is, setting some kind of boundary, make it productive, and then let it go. Do not worry about it, because when kids feel that worrying energy, it just makes them go the opposite direction and not listen to what their parents have to say. So we're going to talk about 5 things we can do to help your child build a healthy relationship with technology. First one is to be involved with their digital life and model a healthy relationship with technology. So sometimes, right, that comes back to us. So if like we're addicted to technology and we don't monitor our own use, then it's really hard to preach what we don't practice. Number 2, facilitate a variety of real world activities. Number 3, teach them to trust their gut and use their inner guidance. Number 4, teach kids to create a digital footprint they are proud of. And number 5, follow the 10 commandments of texting, which I actually sent out as a blog. So I'm not going to talk about it on this webinar, but I will include it when I send you the recording. I will send you the 10 commandments of texting, which is just good for kids to know because they don't get education. Nobody teaches them etiquette. It's really, we're talking about texting etiquette. And so they need to know. All right, so number 1, be involved with their digital life. So really, this is something that I think is so important as parents. You know, we give them their first cell phone, and but we don't necessarily ask them to share with us what they're doing on there and what they like and what they are exploring. And you know, they start off when they're younger playing games, and we're very aware of it. And then we know they're playing Plants and Zombies, or we know all about Minecraft because they tell us everything about it. Or we watch their Musical.ly videos. Older, they have a natural yearning for privacy, and that's totally normal and appropriate. But the things they do online are public, and so it's not an appropriate place for privacy. So cell phones, although adults and kids would argue, this is my private information, you can't read my texts, and I don't want you to see what I'm posting. I mean, this is a public forum. Anything you text, post, explore online, anybody can have access to that. And so kids really need to learn that. And so being public means starting with mom and dad and saying, hey, you know, let's share what we're doing online. You can read my texts, I can read your texts, you know, show me funny things you find. Share cat videos with you, you share silly things with me, and really make it more of a community activity. And that's, kids tend to do that with each other, but they don't tend to do it with their parents. So just a reminder that their device is your device. This is your cell phone. It's in your name. You pay the internet access, the data costs. It's yours. It's not their diary. It's not their journal. This picture is my friend who, she's like me and doesn't really like dressing up for Halloween. So she did this kind of cop-out costume to a Halloween party, and every kid knew what she was dressed up as, and not one parent knew that she was dressed like the Snapchat logo. And all the parents were like, how do you know what Snapchat is? None of them knew their kid was even on Snapchat. So this is really just showing us we need to be more involved with our kids and know what they're doing and why are they on Snapchat. There's really, honestly, from a parent's perspective, there is no good thing to come from Snapchat. There are lots of bad things, but there's nothing good. It's, kids use it to be silly or to text, but there's such a downside that it's definitely something I would delay as long as possible. If your kid is very interested, they can text each other if they need to get a hold of each other, but it's just too hard for parents to track and monitor. So really knowing, what do your kids watch on YouTube? What channels do they follow? And Netflix shows are they watching? You know, I had just taught a class and parents are coming to me. I just found out that my daughter watched 17 Reasons Why on Netflix. And like, that's quality show, but it's got some really intense topics. And, it's probably a good one to watch with your parents to kind of help talk about it. So many super teachable moments in there. But, I don't want my daughter watching a rape scene without me knowing about it. So really trying to be involved with their Netflix viewing, know what they're watching and watch it with them so that you can kind of go, oh, I don't know if I'm comfortable with this. Doesn't seem like a healthy sexual relationship. They seem too young, or whatever you want to say. Be involved. Sharing good things with each other, funny things, so that when you want to talk about something negative, you already have that kind of relationship with them. So let's say you see a group text and that's someone got their feelings hurt, something inappropriate went down, they feel like they can come to you because you guys have been sharing other things together. So it just comes back to this idea that our cell phones and our internet is a public means of communication. Kids do not get it because they can be absolutely alone in their room on their phone. It feels very private. And FaceTime is certainly, you can create a more intimate relationship and have a little more privacy than posting something on Snapchatting or whatever. We just need to reiterate that whatever you text or post, you want to imagine it's going to go on a billboard in front of the school. And is that something you would be proud to put on a billboard in front of the school? Because that's often where it ends up. Every teacher sees it, whether it's pictures of your boobs or, oh, believe me, it gets out there, or, some racist joke that you think is funny. Every teacher, the principal, the vice principal, every student, it gets around so fast that we just can't. It's so easy to lose control of that. We really want to be careful with that. So watch your children's Musical.ly videos. I put LOL on here because most people think it means laugh out loud, but if you've got a nerdy boy in your house, it might mean League of Legends. So just kind of keep tabs on that. Like, what are you playing? What do you like? Because it's really kind of, interesting to see what they're drawn to. I had one of my Time for the Talk classes where I talked about memes, and none of the parents knew what a meme was. The kids all thought that was hilarious. So just being involved is really important, and making it a part of your communication and your relationship. So we want to ask, is it a healthy relationship? How do you know you have a healthy relationship with technology or really with anything? So healthy relationships are balanced. They are reciprocal and rewarding without being needy or dependent. So thinking about that, do you get as much joy out of your technology, out of your social media? Is it balanced? Is it reciprocal? Is it rewarding? Or do you start unhealthy relationships when you start to feel like a dependency? I have to, oh my gosh, I've heard teenage girls say like when you threaten to them to take away their phone and they just start losing it, like, oh my God, that would be horrible, right? It starts to become like, I have to be online to monitor my reputation. If somebody says something bad about me or posts a bad picture, I have to be there to protect it. And I'm like, that is not a healthy relationship. Or like, I have to get through my homework super quickly so that I can get back to my video game. Okay, that video game has hooked you in. So you really want to take a look at this balanced. When after you've been on technology, do you feel more relaxed? Do you feel happy? Are you cooperative? Are you agreeable? And then as parents, we can model healthy relationships with other people, of course, but also a healthy relationship with our food, with our money, with our technology, with our bodies. An example is so much more effective than teaching. They're watching every move we make, and if we tell them to do one thing but we don't do it, then it loses its impact. So if you've ever had an unhealthy relationship, I want you to think back, whether it's with the person, with food, with your body, with technology, with work. Allows to have unhealthy relationships with work, whatever. How did you know it was unhealthy? What did it look like from the outside? So I asked on this question on Facebook, and a lot of people got on. They said, well, I was very secretive. I didn't want anybody to know. I kind of knew it was unhealthy. They talked about restlessness, being distracted, making excuses to go back to whatever the addiction was, and not able to just kind of chill. Sometimes people say like socializing with people who had the same addictions, I'll call it. Um, so then they felt normal. Avoiding relationships with people, family, friends, kind of using technology to fill that void. And then moodiness. They just don't ever seem happy, even though they say they really, really want to. Video games keeps popping in my head. Play this video game, but then afterwards they seem. You say, okay, 5 minutes, time to get off, and they lose it. It's a sign, unhealthy relationship. So I want you to think about for a minute, what was your favorite technology when you were growing up? What do you remember? I remember we were the first family on the block to have a VCR, and I felt so proud of that, even though it was a beta. I used to play for hours with tape recorders and video cameras that we used to take film and like splice and edit, I think, if I remember right. But the thing is I had one of those car phones that was bolted into my car. And this was like when they first started showing up in the world. So nobody else had a phone in their car. And I had nobody to call because I guess I could have called the house numbers, but if I didn't have anybody to call, I would just pretend. I'd drive my car and I'd pretend like I was talking on the phone so that I looked cool to everybody else around me. And sometimes I'd just like sing song lyrics that were playing on the radio. But I just loved that. That was so fun. So think about your favorite technology. Why did you like it? I got addicted to this game called Jumpman on the Commodore 64 computer. What did you like about it? I loved when I got my own phone and answering machine with call waiting. That was a very exciting day. Cordless, no less. But why didn't this technology ruin your life? Why did it not take over and become all consuming where you just like lose yourself? So just think about that for a minute. I think when I think about this question, I had other things going on in my life. Like these technology devices were not the end. I did watch a lot of TV. I still love TV to this day. But I had other things too. And so I think that's just important to remember that it's really can be as simple as that it doesn't have to take over your life because you've got other things. As long as you have other things, right? You've got activities, you've got social life, you've got a home, you have family dinners, maybe you have family vacations, maybe you go hiking on the weekends or go to church. Like there are other things too. So it doesn't have to take over your life for our kids either. Now I want you to think about a healthy decision you made around technology. Something that you were like, you know what? I'm not going to get on Facebook anymore before the election because the amount of Facebook posts around politics are just ridiculous and I'm done, right? And so you said no to Facebook. When I taught this class in front of the group, one of the dads said that he used to get inappropriate texts, I think it was, or emails, maybe it was emails at work. So friends would send him, sexually explicit texts or emails. And he said, like, okay, if you're going to send me those, don't send them to work. And he learned to like not open them while I was at work. But I thought it was so interesting that I said, do you like getting them? And he said, no. I said, well, why didn't you tell them just to not send them at all? I think that's such a great issue that our teenage boys are going to have today, because that's the stuff teenage boys like to share, is something racy and sexually explicit and funny. And so why not talk to your kid about that and saying like, yeah, I just want to say don't send it to me at all, but instead I just said don't send it while I'm at work just because I was afraid that they were going to think I wasn't cool. Oh my God, kids need to hear that stuff because they have trouble setting that kind of boundary too. And you and your son can do it together. Be like, okay, I'm going to say, knock it off. these are gross, and you say it too. And just, or block friends or whatever it is, that kids need our help and our role modeling. So I love the show Stranger Things, but I will not watch it before bed because it's too freaky. And my husband wouldn't watch it at all. Without him, too scary for him. But I don't watch The Housewives of any county because if I do, I feel like I just ate a bunch of junk food afterwards. I don't watch scary movies because they scare me and they make me scared to be alone in my house at night. So there's a lot of choices I've made that are good for me, based on how I feel. And so that's the message that kids really need to know is, how do you feel afterwards, and use that as your guidance to make good decisions. Number 2, torture your teen with a variety of real world activities. So kids want to act cool and they want to act like they don't need anybody or anything. And they, when they get to these preteen and teenage years, sometimes they don't know what they yearn for, they're also afraid of, which really is this kind of emotional and social intimacy. So I have this girls leadership summer camp I call Launching Girl Leaders. And, I make them play games that slowly, gradually gets them comfortable with each other, whether it's looking them in the eye through eyeball tag, or sitting on each other, touching each other, doing human knot activities where they have physical proximity. They crave this friendships and those intimate activities, but they're afraid to create it. And so it feels safer to kind of have this technology as a buffer, but they still need it. So even if it's awkward and even if they get a little social anxiety, it's still, I suggest torturing them by sending them to youth group and summer camp and, making them socialize with the neighbors at barbecues. Like, you have to force and encourage it, and know that the awkwardness is part of the learning. So if you notice that your kids are getting jealous of pictures that are shared on social media, like everybody else is having fun but me, and look at them having, then use jealousy as a sign. It just means that you're meant for that too. So help your kid create that. If they get jealous of seeing something they see, okay, well, let's make a plan. Let's, arrange a time to do that. So that's just a sign that from your essence that you need to create that for yourself. And then you have it and you can see, okay, that wasn't really all that great, or wasn't as good as it looked in the picture, or yeah, that was one moment, but the rest of the time was just kind of awkward. So they get a realistic picture of it, not just the highlight reel. So learning to resolve conflict and dissolve perfectionism is really what these preteen and teenage years are all about. And it's so important in order to build those intimate relationships. You can't have a genuine, deep relationship without and having a way to resolve that conflict. And so what tends to happen with girls are like, oh, she's mean. I don't need to hang out with people like that. She doesn't treat me very nicely. I'm going to go elsewhere. And this kind of black and white perfectionism, like you're either nice or you're mean, you're either my friend or you're not. And that really doesn't serve, because we're all mean and we're all nice. Like really, there's no such thing as like a mean girl and a nice girl. We all have our moments. And so as we learn to overcome that perfectionism each other, we do it for ourselves too, and learn to forgive ourselves and not hold ourselves to such high expectations. So overcoming awkwardness, it's good for parents, it's good for kids. Hosting a sleepover at your house may not be the funnest way you can imagine spending your weekend, but overcoming that and doing it anyways for the good of the kids, and watching them be awkward and all be on their cell phones, and going and say, okay, kids, no more cell phones. I'm taking them away. You guys are going to go without phones. I'm going to be the bad guy. We need to do that for them. We need to overcome our own awkwardness so that kids learn it's okay to go outside your comfort zone and do something you haven't done before. And sometimes setting boundaries around technology is what we need to do. Relationships make life worth living. right? Kids want to bond. And when they're in these awkward preteen teen years, they use media as a way to buffer themselves. So when they're all sitting around looking at each other in the eye, it's hard to know what to say. And some people are more socially adept than others, and small talk doesn't come easily. And they're so judgy and critical that you say the wrong thing, and goodness knows it's going to come back to bite you. So they tend to use media as a way to, bond, watch something funny together, buffer themselves. So if there's ever an awkward silence, they escape to their phone. So I just go back to just making sure they're sharing it. If it's something funny, share it with each other. But know that hopefully that it's temporary. Like they're learning to socialize more easily, that this is just a temporary thing that they will do. But make sure they're making time to be awkward around each other too. Because look at, I mean, in this picture, you can see, like, what if the next thing they showed was something sexually explicit? Like, helping your kids know how to handle that and be like, that's gross. Don't show me that. That's not cool. Um, why do you have that on your phone? And start to handle those situations is really good practice. We want to help our kids create a balanced life. It's just too easy to have them be on the internet, FaceTime, texting, social media, video games. It's just too easy for us. We know they're safe, we know where they are, and they're sort of content for the moment. So really going outside our comfort zone. This is a picture I made my son invite his friends over to physically spend time in their existence instead of just playing these video games online. So it was fine, but making it catered to him, like we play, it was like the idea was game. So boys especially need an activity. If they're going to get together, a lot of it's hard to just say, let's just come hang out. Girls can do that. They can gab for hours and just have talking as an activity sometimes, but boys tend to need a project. Come over, we're going to build a hammock out of duct tape. Come over, we're going to have, poker night, or, my son loves like these telestrations. Of course, they all turn dirty. They all go into the garage and play the racy version of whatever party game I set out. But that's okay. They're still laughing. They're having fun. They're interacting with each other and learning how to socialize. So books, classes, camps, youth groups, any in-person activities, we just want to make sure we're keeping them balanced. Your mind when you think about your fondest childhood memories. So what I notice is when I ask people this, I want you to, well, first I want you to think about it for a minute. What comes to your mind when you think about? Me, it was always outside in the street, running around, playing games. In fact, that's why I invented my girls' summer camp. I call it Getting What You Want. I was like, what did I love to do when I was a kid? And how can I make money doing that now? Like, oh, I can play games with girls outside in my own home. And it's been great. I love it. It's so much fun. But I have, of course, a purpose to the games and teaching them how to get what you want and how to know what you want. So what comes to your mind? There seems to be a general theme when I ask people. Almost always outside. Almost always without parental supervision, which I find very fascinating. One person did say their grandparents were there. And I said, were the grandparents happy? And of course she said yes. So if parents are stressed or worried or grumpy or whatever, then that's not going to be our highest, most memorable childhood experience, right? If parents are happy and everybody's happy, then that can be, certainly. So we want to think about the things that we loved when we were a kid and how important that is. And one of the things is that when all 5 of your senses are fully alive, when you are engaged in an activity, and nature tends to do that more easily than indoors, but sometimes people are creating arts and crafts at the kitchen table or artwork or putting on plays and things. Certainly are some of the highlights that people talk about, using their creativity, but when you're just full attention are there. Now, kids are wired to experience every emotion. They can handle it. So parents sometimes worry like, well, but I don't want them to get hurt. I don't want them to feel left out. I don't want them to be sad and disappointed. But kids are supposed to. We all are supposed to experience every emotion: sadness, disappointment, anger, fear. Like, normal. What's not normal is to stay indoors connected to a screen and not experience and authentic emotions. All you're doing is just like trying to get to the next level, but your senses aren't fully alive. You're engaged, and certainly video games are designed to keep us that way, but really just making sure that we have access to our full range of emotions. So Snapchat, Instagram, online video gaming, texting are just snippets of a public persona. It's not real life. And so whether you're taking selfies or you're watching other people put on makeup, it's just not as engaging as doing something yourself. Number three, I guess I better get moving here, talk a little faster, is trust your gut. Understanding your inner guidance system. So this is what I really think where we're heading with parenting today, because there's just so much that's out of their control. We used to be able to say, like, keep a laptop in the main room of your house where everybody can see it, and then you'll know your kids are doing appropriate things on there. No. It's cell phones. Everybody has private. They have private, like, secret apps now. So let's say you remove Snapchat from your kid's phone, like, oh, they can do the secret Snapchat app that's like looks like a calculator, and it's like, oh my gosh, like there's just so much. So we really need to teach kids how to listen to their own instincts and make good decisions. And one of the ways parents tune into their instincts is I want you to think for a minute about things that you take photos of. What would you take a picture of your kid playing video games, or your kid zoned out on his cell phone like this one is the headphones? Or do you take pictures of your kids like scaling up the walls and creating, like messes with their craft projects and building forts? And when your child decides to take over the entire kitchen to make like one little batch of cookies and the whole room's a disaster, but they're so proud of their cookies, like intuitively you know what's good for your kids. You're not taking pictures of them taking a selfie of themselves, but you are taking pictures of them all dressed up for prom, looking all dorky and awkward. Even if they're not happy, we still tend to take pictures of things that we know are kind of part of their growth and development. So you have that instincts already inside you. Paying attention to how they feel afterwards. They might be dying to go back to their video game and shoveling dinner in their mouth so they could get back to whatever they were doing. But afterwards, when they're done, how do they seem? Do they share with you, oh my God, it was so cool, Mom, I reached this next level and I went on YouTube and I researched like how to create this, and then I went on, I taught my friends how to get to the next level and it was the coolest thing? Do they come downstairs and they're nice to their siblings and they're more agreeable? Are they comfortable being away from it? Do they seem relaxed? Those are the things you want to know, that your instincts can tell you if they are too much or if they have a healthy relationship. So just pay attention to that. There's nothing inherently wrong with selfies or video games. It's just you want to start paying attention to your individual kid. I know parents, they just want me to give them rules. Like, 5 hours a day is too much. 3 hours a day is fine. Like, we love these concrete things, but really it's so much about your own kid. Because my brother, I grew up with him. He was totally addicted to computer games back in the day when there was so few, but that's his job. He loved it. He's a computer programmer. He writes code. He spends all day at a computer, which would drive me bonkers. I need to be outside playing, but he loves it. So it really depends on the kid. How does your inner guidance system, your inner GPS, communicate with you? So we all have these, what do you call them, your gut, your instincts, your intuition, whatever you want to call it. We have this inner compass that guides us into what's right for us and what's wrong for us. And the first step in learning how to listen is to get quiet. So sometimes if you ever feel like a sense of panic or urgency, or like, oh my God, this is ridiculous, you guys, no more cell phones ever again. I'm taking them all away and I can't stand this anymore. That's not really your inner GPS. Yes, that nagging voice that doesn't go away can be trying to get your attention, but whenever there's a sense of urgency, that's you trying to avoid a feeling. So that's a different issue. So you want to get quiet and you want to get calm and you want to pay attention to your body and your emotions. That's how our instincts communicate, is through our body. Use the media to learn more about yourself and this inner GPS. What shows do you love? What shows on TV can you not get? I've been watching Survivor for like 20 years and I still love that show. What does that mean about me? What can you not stand? What just turns you off and you just want to? This is your inner GPS telling you what's good for you, what's not good for you, what's right for you, what's wrong for you. Our suffering is what moves us to take action. So if your kids are constantly just cranky and grumpy and annoying and they're keeping secrets and they're lying, we suffer when our kids are doing that. So we try to ignore it and we're like, oh, he's just a teen and he'll grow out of it, and you know I'll just give him what he wants. I'm sick of arguing, so here, do whatever you want. But it's like it just doesn't go away. It's easy to ignore until it no longer is. And so then maybe it's time to start taking some steps in addressing the real issues of what's really going on. So whenever you think of talking to kids, we're always trying to undo this black and white thinking that kids naturally have. I'm either good or I'm bad. I'm either smart or I'm dumb. I'm either popular or I'm not. Everybody hates me. Right? Is the opposite of popular. So this is kind of black and white perfectionistic thinking is normal for kids. So you want to give them a scale of 1 to 10 for just about anything you think of. So if you say, how addicted to technology are you? Scale of 1 to 10. How how much of you like school? What percent, what scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel like about your friendships right now? And just always kind of presenting this scale will help them get out of that brain that isn't so helpful for them. So you want to teach your kids to think about their inner GPS. Giving them a scale is one way to do it. Asking them, showing them you're open. Have you ever seen anything inappropriate online? How did your body react to this? So when kids see something inappropriate, they have a physical sensation, whether it's a tingling and a titillating, like, ooh, I like this and I want more of it, or but it also might be accompanied with this secretive, like, I'm going to close the laptop, or I'm going to close my door. I don't want anybody else to see this. Or this immediate rejection, like, oh, I don't want to see that anymore. How does your body react to something inappropriate? And helping them recognize their own signals. Ask them if you've ever seen anything that they wanted to hide from you, the parent. Have you ever seen anything you want to hide from me? Because that's a sign that maybe it's inappropriate and you shouldn't be watching it. Check in with your kids on a daily basis. What are your instincts telling you about that friend, that your teacher, this show? Like, just kind of starting to use that word. What's your gut tell you? What do you think? Would you get any feelings about this person in your life? Like, do you think that's, or do they say what they mean and mean what they say? Kids are really good at that. Like, what do you think? She said these words, but what do you think she really meant? And just start talking about that and getting them to use the word instincts, intuition. It's all helping them get to know themselves and that they already have the wisdom inside to make healthy decisions for themselves, and really praise and encourage that. Like, I trust you to make good decisions. Number 4 is to talk to your kids about creating a digital footprint they can be proud of for years to come. We see these footprints in the sand, like, yeah, that's going to be gone by the waves in about an hour. We're talking about footprints that are going to be around forever. Do not get washed away. So what's going on your permanent record? What kinds of, if every post, and even Snapchat, it's hard for parents, but somebody hacked into it and like 50,000 Snapchat posts were made public. So even you can argue Snapchat is private, but not 100%. So what do you want going on your public permanent record? What are you going to be proud of? Employers look at this stuff. Even if you're just going to work at Baskin Robbins, you apply for a job, they're going to Google you. They're going to pull you up on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, whatever. They're going to see YouTube. What kind of kid is this? Google your own kids, see what pops up for them. That's kind of sometimes surprising. And is it something that you're proud of? So I'm really getting to start think about a relationship they have. Maybe they fall in love someday and they look back at all their posts. Are they going to be proud of what they posted online? Colleges, are they going to like what they see? Not just avoiding bad things, but posting good things too. My nephew is an incredible artist, and I looked at his Instagram page, and he's also very funny, and he's got lots of like little funny posts and lots of silly selfies and things, but none of his incredible artwork. And I just thought, gosh, to show a well-rounded picture of yourself as he's getting ready to apply to colleges and jobs and stuff, like you could create a really nice profile of you. And I thought it was funny because he started up a new, I don't know if it's Instagram page or some other social media something, Ask FM maybe. And he started up a new one. He's like, oh, that was the old me back when I was like 14, 15. And now I'm like so mature and sophisticated. I wanted to start a new one. And so I don't want people going to the old one, but they were totally linked. Like you could very easily go from the new one to the old one and find him. But this is a screenshot of my niece's Instagram page. She has decided, she's 14, and she's decided to start her own photography business. And so she's posting pictures of herself and her friends, but she's also saying, hey, I'm a photographer. DM me to shoot. If you know what DMing is, you can hire Haley Wilson, photographer. But you want to teach your kids to think about future relationships, future job interviews, colleges, and is their digital footprint something they can be proud of? I think it's a great idea to increase your children's media literacy. They do not know what they are getting themselves into, because at least my children anyways will tell me I'm wrong and I don't know what I'm talking about. It's because they're 17 and almost 13. But what I tell them is every YouTube channel, every video game, every TV show is designed to keep you watching. They want to hook you in so that they can pay their advertisers and increase their profits. It's a money-making machine. They don't really care about quality viewing or giving you something great. They are designed to make money for advertising. And so they want to have more views, more likes, more clicks. And my daughter's like, that's not true. Like, I don't have to pay anything. And because I was saying, like, they want your money. And she's like, I don't pay a dime. I'm like, yeah, you pay with your email address. You pay with your attention. It's just a different form of payment these days. We can help by giving kids words to understand things they already believe to be true. So this is increasing their instinctual intelligence. The kids are going to watch something and they're going to get a funny feeling inside, and then we can get to help them. Like, did that feel uncomfortable? Does this seem inappropriate for, do you think that kids might get the wrong impression if they're watching this show? What do you think about that? Really helping them understand this is inappropriate, isn't it? This is not good for humanity. Or boy, do you think something's going on with that kid to make them post such like mean, awful things? Like, what do you think? If you don't like being around that kid, think about what it must be like to be inside his own head and his own brain. You can walk away. He cannot escape. We're seeing through his posts, we're seeing what's happening in her inner world. This is how her brain thinks. It's critical, it's judgmental, it's awful. Like, how must that feel to never be able to get away from your own brain? So just kind of increasing like compassion, but also making sure you're honoring your kids' instinctual intelligence. Number 5 is to follow the 10 commandments of texting. Like I said, I'm going to send that to you in an email, or you can go to my blog where I posted it. So I will give that out to you because that's something to share with your kids. So I really want you to have like a paper copy of it. But really what we're talking about is we're shifting the parenting paradigm. When kids are little, we are the authority figure, and we get to tell them what to do and what's right and wrong and steer them in the direction that we believe is right. As they enter middle school and high school, things start changing, whether we want it to or not. Authoritative parenting doesn't tend to work very well. But overly permissive parenting doesn't either. So you can, when you have a very authoritative parent, then kids tend to just rebel against it, keep things hidden from you, secret, not tell you anything. When you're overly permissive, you're like, I don't care, just do what you want. Kids feel like you don't care about them, and they might act up to get your attention and get you to care about them. And so it might be like cries for help that you're seeing. So like whenever we get stressed, we tend to like go one way or the other. It's either like, I can't tell you how many times I've been like, no more cell phones, turning off the TV, like never again. And I get all like dramatic and kind of authoritative, perhaps bombastic. Or I tend to go like, oh my God, I just can't deal with the arguing. Just do whatever you want. Like, just, I don't care anymore. So when we're stressed, we tend to go one extreme or the other. So we really want to make sure we're taking care of ourselves and our mental well-being and not going into worry, fear, stress, all that. So if sending your kids to the internet or allowing them access to internet is like sending them to a summer camp, parents are going to be the camp counselor of the internet. We are going to be fun. We're going to share with them. We're going to hang out with them. We're going to enjoy their company. and but also be there to keep them safe, show them how to, play by the rules, how to not drown in the lake, but giving them like some freedom. It's all about trust with teenagers. So you want to kind of slowly let go of the rope a little bit at a time. If it feels like, if you find out that you let go of too much rope, and by watching their behavior and seeing an unhealthy relationship and seeing some of their posts, then you rein the rope back in and you say, okay, something's going on here. I need to pay close attention. We're going to eliminate, no more Snapchat, no more Instagram. I'm going to put net name, like we need to rein it back in when you see things are not going well. Okay. But if everything's going well, and every time, my son used to, I'm like, what do you do on your phone? Like, what are you looking at on YouTube? And he's like, oh, I'm watching videos of other people playing video games. I'm like, no, he's not. He's 15. I'm sure he's watching like porn or something. So every time I check his phone, like, sure enough, he's watching videos of other people playing video games. And so I asked him, like, what do you so much? Like, you love watching people play video games, you love your strategy card games. Like, what is it you like so much? Because that might be a sign of what you're meant to do with your life or what you're meant to major in. And after fleshing it out, we realized he loves research. He likes researching video games more than he likes actually playing video games. So like, that's really good to know, as we're in this stage where he's, trying to pick a major. Very helpful. So look at where your kids get in trouble or willing to get in trouble. Look at where they spend their free time. Look at where they spent 10,000 hours of dedicated practice. It might be aligned with their future calling. So we're really talking here about modern parenting. The stories of others to educate your kids. When you hear something gone wrong, someone took a picture of someone changing their clothes and posted it on the internet, talk to your kids about that. These are teachable moments. The more they can hear about other kids doing stupid stuff, the more they can not do it themselves and learn by it. Talk about controversial subjects in a relaxed and respectful way. Teach your kids to listen to their inner GPS while you listen to yours. Be tuned into your child. Listen to what they have to say. Understand their innate personality, but always live your values. So if they're an introvert and they need a lot of alone time, don't demand that they're constantly socializing with their friends. Internets, I keep saying that. Introverts need that quiet downtime in their room by themselves. So that's why I said, watch them. How do they feel afterwards? Do they come out more relaxed after being in their room for 4 hours after school? Or do they come out grumpy? You'll know. Seek understanding and trust your gut. Keep it light and make it fun. Laugh at yourself. Kids love to show us the cool stuff. Let them laugh at how ignorant you are about Snapchat. You don't know what anything's called. I just kind of shipped. I'm shipped up. They're shipped. That means they're going out together. I just learned that yesterday from some 10-year-olds. So try to have a really good sense of humor, but kids really respond much better to that than worrying. So keep it light. Learn all you can. I mean, if you're going to be a camp counselor, you've got to go to some camp training. This class by CyberStrong Kids is the best training I've seen, where you and your kid together sit down and watch a video class about staying safe online and taking control of a kid's digital footprint. It's such a great way to open up communication and show your kids that you are the person to talk to. I also think talking to your kids about sex is really important, more important than ever because of the internet. So if you have a 9 to 12-year-old, having the talk with them, showing them that you can handle awkward, embarrassing topics is so key to them feeling like they can talk to you about sex, they can talk to you about anything. It really shows them you are open and you can handle this stuff. So if you haven't had the talk with your 9 to 12-year-old, go to timeforthetalk.com and you purchase our online class, and you and your kid watch it together while opening up the communication and showing them like, oh no, I know about this stuff, I can handle it, and you can show me things later on. I highly recommend. So you want to set clear boundaries that keep them safe. Make your parenting rules boring. Okay, if your phone's not downstairs by 10 p.m., you'll lose the phone privilege the next day. Easy, boring, you can post it on the fridge. It's consistent. You know, if I find that you have been, you know, if you ever text someone an inappropriate picture or an inappropriate joke, or you share it or anything like that, you will lose your phone, like, you know, for a year. I don't know, whatever, but just make it really boring and consistent. Keep your worries, stress, and negativity at the door. It repels them the opposite direction. They want to disagree with you and separate from you. That's totally normal. So let them do that. Talk and educate before you have problems. Such a key. If you want to get Net Nanny or iCloud, so like every text goes up to the cloud so you can see it, Life 360, Find My iPhone, so you kind of know where your kids are, that's totally okay. This is your device and this is a public forum. You totally have the right to have access to everything they're doing, but don't underestimate the power of positive involvement. Let them see that you are a person that they can talk to about stuff they encounter online. They're gonna encounter inappropriate stuff, and we want them to see it and know they can turn to you, ask you for help, get advice from you. So you guys can do this. We're at the hour mark. I believe in you. If you need any help, questions, you feel like your kid's kind of gone into the unhealthy relationship direction, maybe a little bit addicted, or you just need help setting some boundaries for yourself because you kind of like tend to let them do what they want and they're acting as though this isn't a good thing for them, you know, then call me. I'm totally happy to set up I give a free initial session to anybody that wants one. But also if you have 11 to 17-year-old and you're interested in my girls leadership summer camp, enrollment is now open. So you can go to lifecoachingforparents.com and you can go to summer camp tab, and it'll explain what the summer camp is, what we do, why the girls like it so much, and what the dates are. And you can enroll quickly before it fills up, because I only take 12 girls per session. So it's a pretty small number. So if you have any questions for me about technology or teenagers or preteens or my sex ed class or anything, then you just email me, Tori@lifecoachingforparents.com. And I'm happy to talk with you. Just let me know. Let me know what you thought, any feedback on the webinar. I love to hear it. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.